Hi, I'm Mitchell Ringos. Welcome to Word for Word, where we offer you an in-depth look at some of our interviews with newsmakers from across the Northwest. Protest and counter-protest were held across Canada and here in Thunder Bay regarding gender identity and sex education in schools. Local pride groups and supporters turned out in huge numbers at City Hall to support youth trying to be who they truly are.
Squish, can we just get your thoughts on how this event went tonight?
I think it went awesome. It's such a good, just look at the turnout. It's an awesome turnout of love and support for a community that just faces bigotry for absolutely no reason, from people who don't even know what's going on in the schools and refuse to educate themselves about what's going on in the school curriculum and what our children actually learn.
Why is this event so important to you?
Well, I'm a mom. Sorry, my son's right here, so I'm a mom. This is my son. My daughter is over there, and I love my kids, and I want them to be who they want to grow up to be. I want them to be loved and support no matter who they are. And seeing the harm that happens to even my very close nephew who is trans, that comes to them just for trying to be who they are, is ridiculous that anyone would want to control a child in exploring who they are. If you thought you wanted to be a dinosaur when you grew up and then you turn up to be a doctor, that's great. But if you just want to wear not feminine clothes and you're a girl, that's bad. It's just confusing how this rhetoric is getting changed around.
What did the size of this crowd mean to you to see this tonight?
Just that Thunder Bay love always wins and that pride lives here, and just we have the best community to support everybody in town, whether or not, not larger communities, but other communities within the city who are vastly smaller want to believe that there's not that kind of support.
Jason, first off, can we get your reaction to this crowd tonight?
Yeah, you know what? This is community in action. This is unity in action. This is our biggest turnout yet since we've been fighting on the front lines of this new fight of equality and acceptance. So my heart is just full and bursting with love and joy to see so much of our community come out and show support for us.
I know there was a smaller protest here earlier today. Can we get your thoughts on that? And then the flip side with this gathering.
Yeah, I think my thoughts on the one this morning are, they're entitled to their protest, but it is misinformation, it is disinformation, it is dangerous rhetoric that they are spewing that are making lives of trans and non-binary kids in school unsafe. And safety is the paramount concern right now of students who are just trying to live authentically who they are, and we have to keep fighting for them every step of the way. And the flip side to that is our community came out and stood with us, probably 3 or 4 to 1 to them, and that is consistently what's happening across Canada right now with our siblings and our other organizations that are fighting on the front lines in Ottawa to Vancouver to Halifax and Nunavut. We will continue to be on the front lines with them, and this is again, like I said, community in action.
The Lakehead District School Board has rolled out personal laptops for their high school students to enhance classroom teachings and learnings. The one-to-one laptop program gives students the opportunity to use programs they may not have access to at home.
So over the last 2 years, so this school year and last school year, we have rolled out laptops to all of our grade 9, 10, and new grade 11 students. And we're working on the grade 12s that should be rolled out this semester. So by the end of the next month, we should have a laptop for every student in all of our high schools.
And they get to keep this laptop throughout their, high school career?
Yep, they'll have the laptops for the entire time that they're in high school. And as the new grade 9s come in next year, we'll give them a new set of laptops as well. So every grade that comes in will have their own laptops, and they'll have them for the full 4 years that they're here.
And you mentioned high schools. Are you thinking about possibly doing this with elementary schools sometime in the future?
We're working on different models for elementary school, so it's on our radar and we're talking about it, and yeah, it's something that we're talking about and planning on, yeah.
And Can you maybe talk a little bit about why you wanted to put this program in place in the first place?
So the one-to-one laptop program was conceived as a way of sort of producing equity of outcomes for all of our students, so that students without technology at home would have all the same resources that students that did have computers or laptops at home, so that everybody has the same technology, they all have the same access to resources, they all have the same opportunities regardless of their backgrounds. And this gives us opportunities for accessibility and for every student that is supposed to take an e-learning course, 2 e-learning courses, and so we'll have them have the resources that they need to take these courses.
Can you talk a little bit about how beneficial it will be further on in the future?
Yeah, so our students are entering a workforce that is very largely computerized, and we're all using meetings online, and things changed a lot over the last 4 years and during the pandemic. So entering a workforce where virtually all jobs are going to be touched by these technologies in some way, and so having access to this in high school and learning about the different ways of connecting and collaborating is a huge benefit to our students when they leave high school and go to university or college or the world of work. No matter what aspect of that they enter into, they're going to be seeing technology like this. So.
And you mentioned this is the second year that's been going on. Have you noticed a difference between the years previously and?
In the past, we would have 1 or 2 computer labs in each school. And so if you're in English class, you would book the computer lab and go up to the computer lab and work in the computer lab for your one day that you could get access to the lab. And now the students have laptops, and theoretically we'll bring them every day and we'll have them in their class, and we'll be able to work on this when it fits the teacher's schedule and the class's best needs. A technology class like this one, in the past, they would work on whatever their project is, go up to the computer lab for 3 or 4 days and work on AutoCAD or Tinkercad or whatever the software is, and then they'd return back to the class and continue on their projects. Whereas now, they can take their design and go over to the 3D printer and print out whatever the part is that they need, and then go back to their project, and it's much more organic way to use computers, a much more natural and realistic way to use the computers, rather than just going up to the lab and doing the work and coming back. So that's been a big change, especially for the technology teachers, to not be sort of so rigid in the way they plan their courses.
And is this program something you've tried to implement previously?
Yeah, so in the past we've had class sets of laptops on carts, or we've had computer labs. We've also had our BYOD policy, which was bring your own device. We found with smaller devices it wasn't as efficient for researching, for writing, for accessibility, and so we decided that a laptop was the best sort of form factor for technology. It allows more accessibility tools like Lexia for doing literacy work, and Read and Write for doing all of the sort of supports for language learners, and so we settled on a laptop after trying a few different models. So yeah.
The nearly $3 million construction project on the Canada Games complex is getting closer to completion. The head of the city's Capital Facilities Division says the project is expected to be completed on budget by Thanksgiving weekend.
So we're still on track to get the construction done within the 4-month window that was originally anticipated, plus or minus a few days. The Canada Games complex staff is looking to open around Thanksgiving weekend, either just before or just after.
What were some of the big ticket items that took the longest to get done for this project?
So for this project, there was a lot of lead time with some of the equipment, so we had to get it out on the street fairly early to get things ordered and shop drawings reviewed. And even now, after the opening, we'll still be waiting until I think March before we do one of the HVAC units for the Quebec room. That was anticipated, and that's not going to result in any shutdowns. It'll be possibly some temporary loss of the Quebec room for a few days while they convert over to the new unit. But the remainder of it's all been well in hand. The contractors have all been really working hard to make sure things are done in a timely manner, and we ran into a few snags in the groundwork, but we are also sort of anticipating that to some degree based on previous projects at this facility. So that was all sort of built into some degree in the schedule. But overall, it's been a really good project. The contractors have been excellent to work with, and short of some staffing issues, which is an endemic issue with construction across the city, it's all gone really well.
And with respect to those snags that you just mentioned, has there been any increase to the budget, any increase to the expected cost of the project?
So we always carry contingency in the project for the unknown conditions, errors and omissions, things of that nature. We're well within that contingency on the project, so we don't expect any cost overruns on this project.
Do you have a rough idea about an estimate number you can give us?
Well, I think the original project funding was just under $3 million, so we'll be between 2.8 and 3 by the time the project's done.
Okay, great. And anything in particular that you're excited to see when it opens, that excited to show the public? Anything they should be looking out for in particular?
Well, I think excited for me is probably different than excited for public. We're going to have a lot better control of the HVAC systems and the efficiencies, energy efficiency of the facility. So from our end, from a facilities perspective, there's going to be some really positive outcomes here. But for the public, I think the biggest impact is going to be the men's and women's showers, but also for the adult inclusion program to have their own change room, where they're going to be able to have adult change tables, things of that nature. I think that's going to be a really good impact for the public use of the building.
I'm good. I don't have any other questions.
That's great. So maybe a little bit more comfortable in there, maybe better control the temperature when there's extremes in the winter and extremes in the summer?
It's not so much the control, it's really the wasted energy in terms of how the units speak to each other, and so you're not having cooling and heating fight against each other, that kind of thing. So ultimately, the energy savings, which is substantial with this project, is in large part because of the new control system. And the control system will be able to be monitored by our facility staff and tweaked automatically as we see things come across on the computer.
That's great. So, do you have any idea of the percentage of savings maybe?
I can't pull it out, but it actually was in the report when we awarded the project. So
okay, great.
If you look at the report, there's some savings in there that would be reflective of what's happening here.
Confederation College has made some significant upgrades to its simulation labs for the start of their standalone Honors Bachelor of Science nursing program, which hopes to utilize the modern technology to train the next generation of nurses. To start, obviously, this new group starting, I believe, in September. Can you kind of just talk about the push to make this new program and what really led to this decision?
Confederation College launched the standalone BSCN program to answer a need for high-quality graduates to be available to Northwestern Ontario to fill registered nursing positions. There's a high demand for nurses of all types across Northwestern Ontario, across the province, so all of the graduates are going to be able to receive jobs, and we're very happy to have our students also participate in the Learn and Stay grant, which allows the students to get their tuition paid for by the government and also provide return of service for 6 months for each year of the program. So graduates of our 4-year degree will be doing our return of service for 2 years for those that participate in the Learn and Stay grant as well.
And I know the seats are already filled up. How fast did you see that demand when you first announced this?
Well, we became an oversubscribed program relatively quickly, so the equal consideration date for all applicants is back in February. Our program was oversubscribed in full by March of this past year, so we have been oversubscribed for quite some time. Our original target was 50 students. We currently sit at 56 students in terms of total enrollment.
And is that encouraging to see? Obviously, there's a need for nurses in not only Ontario but in Canada. Is that good to see that a lot of people are funneling in very fast to this program?
Yeah, it's really exciting to be able to be a part of the growth of nursing in Northwestern Ontario. There's a real need for the nursing profession to continue to have high-quality candidates. Retirements that are looming in the next few years. We're going to create a demand for high-quality graduates in a couple of years.
And speaking about oh yeah, I don't exactly know what I said. Just talk about the need or the excitement that for Ontario that these nurses are going to be coming out.
Colleges across the province have been moving towards a standalone degree delivery for some time because there's a high demand for nurses across the entire province. Here in Northwestern Ontario, we're the only college that's offering the standalone nursing degree program, which is an excellent opportunity for Confed to help meet the needs for Northwestern Ontario.
And speaking about those needs, you want high quality people coming out of this course. There's been a lot of investment not only to rooms but also to these mannequins that are coming in. What was the push to really upgrade the technology?
So we opened our doors first in 2012 here in our Reach building with our high fidelity simulation and low fidelity simulation mannequins. It was time for a refresh for our practical nursing program, but with the investment in the Bachelor of Science in Nursing program and having that many more students are going to be on campus, we need to make sure that we have the latest and greatest technology available to students for learning. We want them to be able to practice their knowledge, their theory and skills in labs before they go to placement and practice or care for patients. So it's really important for our students to get the highest quality simulation opportunities as possible.
And with all these upgrades and the highest quality of education, are you excited for these students to come out and really be the next generation of nurses?
Well, it's a really interesting time to be entering the nursing profession. Our students are really going to be limited by their own imaginations about where their careers can take them. There's a lot of unmet needs in the healthcare system right now, and the way in which those are currently going to be met will change due to the pandemic and due to a number of different initiatives that are happening across the province. So it's a really exciting time for us to be delivering the program, but also a very exciting time for the students to be entering into the program, and we're just really proud to be a part of that process.
Students at a Thunder Bay Catholic school had something to look forward to on their return to the classrooms, as Bishop Gallagher Senior Elementary School recently added a new area for their students to get some exercise and have fun.
Well, we're quite happy to have turf at Bishop Gallagher. It's a need. It keeps us all safe, to be quite honest, especially when they're active. And it's easier on maintenance for our custodians as well and third-party contractors. So it is reliable. You know, there's no potholes in there, and it is more of an attraction for our kids to go and utilize the equipment.
Is there what was the initial cost actually? Do you know?
It was It was about 15,000, just over that.
But maintenance-wise, it'll be.
Maintenance, this takes care of itself. So other than, we have our once a year company's safety checks that come in, and then we have to do safety checks daily. But for the most part, maintenance-wise, blowing leaves off, which our custodians do, and any minor kind of maintenance issues we take care of on a daily basis.
Can you talk a bit about the equipment that's been installed here? It's not really play equipment.
Right, so we're a middle school. So Bishop Gallagher is a middle school, grades 7 and 8, and we really wanted to focus on equipment that middle school students, adolescent students will use and find meaningful and engaging to use. So we wanted to get away from the play structures that our K-6 schools have and make it more of a middle school feel. And so the fitness equipment here did have student voice, and it had community parent voices as well, as along with our staff and phys ed teachers. And so we wanted to provide equipment that they would use for phys ed class and at recess time, and I think we've done it.
Feedback from the students?
It's been great. You can see it's very positive during a phys ed class, but it is relatively the same at recess time, which is what we wanted to hit. We need active recess at this level as well, not just for our young ones. It's as important for adolescents and for right through to adulthood, right, is keeping exercise an important aspect of life. So, this has been a great addition to our school.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Word for Word. We'll be back next week with more interviews from across the Northwest.